which is Shalane, the pet Nana. Oh my gosh, I love Shalane so much. She's another one that's been with me since the very beginning. She's been an advocate for animals from a very early age. She's worked with animals at varying capacities for over 50 years. No way, no way. In her lifetime, she's had the blessing of having all kinds of animals: dogs, cats, chickens, ducks, parakeets, finches, all the birds, raccoons, squirrels, horses, and freshwater fish in her household. She has a BA from the University of South Carolina and lived abroad for 30 years, 28 of which were in India, where she really learned to embrace holistic health. She currently owns and runs a professional pet sitting service, All Things Pets LLC in North Carolina, which she founded almost 10 years ago. And she's very hands-on, and many of her clients call her often for the advice of her pets. She is fear-free certified. In addition to being a certified professional pet sitter with Pet Sitters International, she has certificates in so many things: animal care, puppy care, cat and kitten care, pet first aid, CPR, botanical remedies for pets, pet nutrition, animal psychology, animal physical therapy, senior pet care, animal physical care, acupressure, as well as dog behavior and training. And of course, she is certified in both as a certified aromatherapist for people and as a level 2 certified animal aromatherapist with me. And Shalane received certification at the Aroma Head Institute as an essential oil specialist and in anatomy and physiology, and is a certified certified aromatherapist. She likes to say, she owns Healthy Oils for All LLC as well. And she likes to say, pets, like humans, are unique. There are many different factors that influence your pet's total well-being. To help ensure success, my approach is to address the whole animal and his or her environment, which is what we're going to talk about today. Essential oils to ease pet anxiety during stressful events. Shalane, I'm so excited about your presentation. Go ahead.
Oh my, I don't know where to start. I should have edited all that, but anyway, this is hard to follow after what Margie said. Dr. Roark, you just gave us twice as much in half the time on your allergy presentation. I mean, that was just phenomenal. So good afternoon, everybody. Like I said, I just want to give a big shout out to Dr. Roark for putting this summit together and for having me, and for all my awesome colleagues who are sharing their expertise alongside me. And I so appreciate the camaraderie we all have. Okay, so I'm not going to go any further in this because she's already talked my head off. So my family and I have 3 dogs that share their home with us. With Shadow is our senior Siberian Husky. Elvis is a cockapoo, and his birthday was yesterday. And Mitch is our 1-year-old purebred mutt. I use essential oils with all 3 of them, and Mitch is my oil baby. That boy, he loves the essential oils. Next slide. So if you all here, I assume that you have a pet that has some sort of anxiety. And so through this presentation, I hope to help set you and your pet up for success. It's a big topic to try to cover in 30 minutes. So I am going to be moving along at a steady rate as I want to focus more on the solutions. So because of that, I've created a checklist with a summary of a lot of the information we're going to cover, so you don't have to worry about remembering it all or taking a lot of notes. So what is anxiety? Anxiety in pets is very much like anxieties with humans. I don't know if any of you have relatives. I have a lot of relatives who have anxiety, depression, anxiety. And so it can manifest itself in various ways, and it stems from a variety of triggers. And the thing is, the signs can be very, very subtle. Some actually mimic normal behavior. And so that is one reason I really encourage pet parents to be familiar with your dog's normal or your pet's normal behavior, so that you can distinguish between normal and anxious behavior. For example, you have a dog that urinates in the house all of a sudden. Is he stressed, or is it lack of training? Or in my case, like our dog Mitch, is he just being lazy? Or you have an affectionate cat And suddenly that cat is no longer affectionate. It's hiding under the bed. It's licking its paws raw. Why? Oh, you got a new puppy. Your cat is feeling insecure or maybe overwhelmed. So, as I said, anxiety in pets is a big topic and a lot of it is overlapping. So some things might repeat, but hey, that's great, right? Because repetition is the law of memory. And the good news is that a lot of what we discussed today can help towards any type of anxiety. So a lot of this is going to be focused on dogs because they do tend to have more of a problem with anxiety than cats. But the bottom line is address everything with patience and understanding with your pets. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, right? So let's start by examining how stress can lead to fear and phobias and anxiety in pets. It can impact their behavior and overall well-being. And my personal experience is that anxiety, stress, and fear is a far bigger issue in pets than many people realize. And then to complicate matters, they're all intertwined, and it can vary from pet to pet and species to species. And well, when we humans deal with this, we can communicate about it. We can talk about it. But our dear furry friends cannot. And unfortunately, on top of all that, there's no quick fix. So there's 3 categories of anxiety. There's separation anxiety, there's fear-related anxiety, and then there's not so commonly known, it is now because of Dr. Yamamoto, but there's age-related anxiety. So I'm just going to touch a little bit on separation anxiety. Some breeds are predisposed to it, but again, that's not a hard and fast rule. Sometimes just the trigger of you getting, like if you're going to leave, your dog's going to get anxious. Well, just you picking up the keys can trigger it. And so, there's a thing called desensitization. Some people, what they do is they pick up the keys and they walk out the door and they come right back. And so you're getting the dog used to that. Just because you pick up the keys, they don't need to start freaking out right away. And if you do have a dog that does have problems with separation anxiety, a couple tips are wear a t-shirt that they like or you like and leave it with them when you leave. So they smell it, has your smell, or you can wash some of their toys in your clothes and leave that with them. And then there's age-related anxiety. So this lovely lady is Yancha, and I have been pet sitting and dog walking her for over 10 years. And I recently took care of her. Her parents went out on a 3-week trip, and I was able to stay with her a majority of the time that they were gone. And so she was previously a very affectionate, responsive pug. And her only demand was that when she came in from going outside potty, she wanted a treat. But she's been blind for a number of years. And then last year she became deaf. But she was still pretty active and did really well. I mean, I did a post on my Pet Nana page that if a dog could be a mentor, she'd be my mentor. She was just amazing. But it was eye-opening and heartbreaking as she exhibited just about every health issue that Dr. Yamamoto shared. She was restless. She cried in her sleep. Her back legs gave out. Sometimes she would just stand there. She had canine cognitive dysfunction. I used to joke with her, "Hey, are you looking at the angels, honey?" And she no longer engaged with anybody. She'd just come and go to her bed and go to sleep. And she had bladder and bowel issues. But the only thing that hadn't changed was when she came in from outside, she wanted that treat. Okay, so now we're going to talk about fear-related anxiety. And I just know so many animals that suffer from this, including one of my own, and that's why I wanted to give this presentation. And the causes can be, from past traumatic experiences. Maybe they didn't have proper socialization when they were younger. Maybe they're just predisposed to it genetically, or they're exposed to frightening events or some kind of stimuli. But a big part of fear-related anxiety is noise phobia. Next slide. So what is noise phobia? I want to focus on the emotional aspect of the anxiety in pets, specifically to this noise phobia. And this topic is also, I feel, very applicable for those of us in Canada and the US, because we're going to get ready to go into the 4th of July or Independence, and there's going to be a lot of fireworks. But the thing is, noise phobia can be thunderstorms and fireworks, but it can be as subtle as a bird chirping or a printer printing. I know, because our Elvis is petrified of the printer. He just absolutely goes ballistic when we print something. And so nobody's really sure why some pets get scared of noises and other ones don't. But it is a common problem in dogs and not so common with cats. So what are the causes of anxiety? Again, this list is going to be included in the checklist, so I'm not going to read through everything because I have other things I want to share with you. But it is important to remember that it's not your fault that your dog or your pet starts having anxiety. It can be just a change in their routine can cause an animal to get stressed out, besides they're getting older or all the other things we discussed earlier. So I'm going to go to the next slide. These are just a few signs. You may remember Jasmine's presentation. She got into body language, because animals cannot speak, but they can certainly communicate. And so the more adept you become at reading your pet's body language, the more likely you're going to be able to help alleviate their fear, anxiety, and stress. And so it's important that you regularly ask the animal how they feel about a given interaction, and then watch their body language. Okay, so symptoms of sign, and again, this is all in the checklist, but pet parents, you really need to try and identify these triggers so you can provide reassurance and support to help your pets feel safe and secure. Again, it goes back to accurately reading their body language. And one of the symptoms, a little tip here, is if your pet does develop, your dog, coprophagia, if you feed them a little bit of pineapple or pineapple juice, I learned this from Dr. Roark, they'll stop, they'll no longer crave eating poop. Just give it a few days. It works. I know. I've got a lot of pets that do that. Sorry, I have a throat allergy. We seem to all have throat problems today. So things you can do now and then. I like to tell everyone, don't wait until the then. Prepare now. So stay calm yourself. As a pet parent, you can influence the severity of your pet's fear. For example, there's a thunderstorm coming. So you get anxious because your dog's going to get anxious. And so then your dog goes, aha, I do need to be frightened because look at mommy. Another thing is, if your dog starts, or your pet starts exhibiting signs of anxiety or stress, I really suggest you consult with your vet just in case there's an underlying cause like pain or something is causing it. And again, desensitization, like I talked to you about with the dog, with the keys. What we've been doing with Elvis, and it's helping some, is when we're getting ready to print something, one of us will go sit with him and soothe him and cuddle him a little bit and get him used to that, hey, the printer's not that bad. He's still not convinced, but we're trying. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so this is the QR code you can scan to get the checklist and the other things that I'm going to be giving away, as well as a paw reflexology chart. But you'll have that checklist with all the information we have been talking. And so now to get to the meat of the subject, things to help your pet cope, natural, effective, alternative, holistic options to help resolve anxiety. And these are many natural calming aids. There's thunder jackets, there's light therapy, which Julie will also be talking about. There's tinted dog goggles, there's massage. As a pet sitter, when I first started, I used to use pheromones. A veterinarian told me that. She said, put it on your pants legs and on the cuffs of your sleeve. But when I really got into aromatherapy, forget that. That went out the window. I use lavender for everything. And I can't tell you how many pet owners say, my cat never comes out to see anybody. So these things really work. And here's a picture of me doing acupressure and Mufa. It's a great way to support your pets emotionally. And tomorrow, Carrie's going to be sharing more on that. And I also use light therapy, which Julie will be sharing quite extensively on. So now we're going to move on to aromatherapy, which is what my presentation is really all about. So you can start just with aromatic use. It can be as simple as putting an essential oil bottle down. And I didn't stage this, mind you. Lucy does a lot of oils she didn't like, but there was some she did, and she would just come over and sniff it. Or you can just diffuse it. So essential oils that have calming properties, the ones that are sparkling are my favorites, but they're all very, very good oils. And I'm not going to go into essential oil safety and how to use them because other people have already covered all of that. But these are, next slide. So essential oils, as Audrey so well explained, there's a science behind essential oils. And all of these calming oils have therapeutic properties that have a grounding effect. They're stress reducing. They have sedative properties. They're mood enhancing. And they all promote a sense of peace and tranquility. And I just highly recommend them all. And so now I love to tell stories. And I'm going to tell a little story now about two kitties who, these are they suddenly for no reason develop anxious tendencies. And this is one of my case studies. So if Dr. Roark will, oh, look at me winking at everybody. If you'll do that video.
Meet Luna and Trooper. Luna is the solid black cat to them. She was actually the first cat that the owners had. And then about 9 months later, they adopted Trooper. He was a feral rescue. And these two bonded almost immediately. So Luna's mommy reached out to me with, please, can you help me? She said almost overnight, their whole personalities had changed. They'd become anxious and skittish and wary. People would come over, people that they knew, and they would run upstairs and hide, and they wouldn't come back down. And then she said it was also becoming a problem because Trooper wouldn't let her trim his nails anymore. And he didn't want anyone touch him or pet him. And then he was getting aggressive in his playtime with Luna, and that was freaking Luna out. So she became clingy and started licking excessively and just became overall very needy. So I told her I'd be really happy to try and help. And I set up an appointment. I went over and I had 5 calming oils in mind. And so when I went over, I was a bit taken back because I know these cats really well. I've been pet sitting and taking care of them for quite some time. And I know they love me, but when I went over, it's like they both looked at me like, who are you? And Luna, she ran upstairs first chance she could get. But Trooper stayed, but he was very eyeing me and kept his distance. So I decided right then and there I was going to use my 2 all-time favorites, lavender and Roman chamomile, because lavender is known for its calming sedative properties. It helps with nervous tension and anxiety. And Roman chamomile also helps with unsettled and anxious feelings. So I'm going to share a video with you of when I introduced the oils to Trooper. So that's actually the Roman chamomile. He had sniffed the lavender earlier. I didn't get the video going in time. So Luna was so stressed out, she never came back down. So I told the mommy, I said, okay, you understand the concept of self-selection. I'm going to leave you the samples. And how about tonight when Luna's calmed down, you try to do that yourself. And I kind of thought that the mommy was also pretty stressed out. So I left her a sample vial of balance. And I said, apply this on your wrists and on your pulse points. It'll help calm you down as well. The next day she texted me before I could call her. And she says, oh, I did that smell test with Luna. And she smelled them both. She kind of liked the lavender. And Luna kept coming to my wrist and I couldn't figure out why. And then it dawned on me that she liked that balance. And I said, well, that's self-selection. That wasn't one of the oils in the mix. It could have very well been, but it wasn't the one I had chosen for them. I said, but that's what she liked. And I said, and then I'll give you a call in a couple of days and find out how things are going. Again, she texted me almost right away saying, I think it's really working. They seem like they're not as stressed as they used to be. And so she continued for diffusing. I think it was about 10 days before I got back over there. I was so excited when I went because they both stayed in the living room. So as you can see, when I went over there, Luna was so happy to see me. She jumped up on my shoulders. So I really just wanted to share this experience with you to highlight the benefits of the essential oils, especially the calming ones when your pets have anxiety.
So that was using them aromatically. And now we're going to go on to how to use them topically. So we are very, very fortunate that doTERRA has a touch line. And a lot of the oils that we shared before, they also have them already diluted. They're just ready. You just can use them as is because they're diluted and they're safe for your pets. And they're just excellent oils. I can't recommend them well enough. So you're going to find out I'm the story lady. So I have another story on the topical use of essential oils. And I guess Dr. Roark is going to have to do her magic again.
So this is Shadow, our Siberian Husky. She was born in February of 2014, and she was the cutest little 7-week-old puppy when we brought her home. And during her first year or so, she didn't exhibit any kind of issues with fear of anything. She was just a happy-go-lucky Siberian Husky, rambunctious, mind you. And then the spring of 2016 was a whole new ball game. The first time they turned on the lawnmower to mow the lawn, she went ballistic. Nothing would console her. She was panting, crying, shaking, pacing. I mean, her eyes were so wide open, we thought they were going to pop out of her head. And she ran from room to room trying to escape. And if we put her on the leash, she'd pull us from room to room. And eventually, I mean, it was really heartbreaking, actually. And eventually she hid under my bed. But I mean, that wasn't the solution. She didn't stay there. She'd get up and do the whole thing again. And then to our dismay, the same thing happened with the very next thunderstorm. So I really try to be proactive when I know there's going to be a storm or the lawnmower is going to go on, but it's not always possible. Here she is freaking out. Okay, so this is Shadow, and there's this thunderstorm starting, and she is beside herself with fear. And here's a video of where we're not quite on top of the situation as we'd like to be. So I'm just sitting out there with her, trying to console her a little bit while my daughter's in the bedroom setting everything up. So it did take a lot of trial and error to find a solution. And I eventually found a routine that worked that I will share with you in just a bit. And I have tweaked it for, over time, but for the most part, it works.
Okay. You can go ahead and play that and then I'll talk.
So Shadow's been on the bed now for about 20 minutes. We've applied vetiver touch on her ears and on her spine. We've got the Serenity diffusing. I've got the TV on. I like to put on YouTube either the birds or the dog channel and turn up the volume enough to drown out the thunder. And I've closed the curtains. We just try to make it very conducive for her. And it is working.
So that's kind of part of the routine of what we do. I mean, so that was a thunderstorm. I should have made that clear from the beginning. I apologize, but we had a very bad thunderstorm. So when I get her up in the bed, sometimes I just sit with her for a few minutes, and talk to her and just to reassure her and everything. And, that one thing that's really near and dear to my heart is the ignore or cuddle debate. And I'm not going to cause a big debate here, but some people say, oh, you need to ignore them. Other people say you need to cuddle them. And I've talked to professionals. I've talked to Dr. Roark, but I've talked to a lot of people and I've studied it. And, what I want to say is that my stance is that just act normal. It's okay to cuddle, but don't mollycoddle and don't be over dramatic in your actions or speak. Just act normal and matter of fact. And the thing is, they may just prefer to go back to their bed or go out, take care of it themselves eventually if they're not too stressed out. Okay, next slide. I think I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. So the thing is that in everything that we do, you may eventually find that you do need some professional help. If your dog has separation anxiety, you may need to work with a trainer. You may need to get your veterinary involved or get medications. And as Dr. Yamamoto just said, don't wait. I mean, vets are busy people and it's hard to get an appointment. So, the 4th of July is coming up. You might already be too late to get a refill if you're not on top of the situation. So, seek professional help if you need it. If your dog is getting destructive or refusing to eat, or you don't want to wait. You just want to take care of this. If everything you're trying is not working. Next slide. So, since we are going into the 4th of July and more pets get lost any other time, any other day of the year on this day, I want to put in plug to make sure that your pets microchip information and tags are up to date. I live in a military area where people come and go all the time. And it's just shocking how many people don't even think to update their pets' records. So please make sure you do that. And I'm going to end with a last story. This is Oni. And in 2019, just a few days before the 4th of July, I walk their dogs, but they also have 3 cats in that house. And the daddy called me and said, "Hey, did you happen to see Oni when you came?" And the cats don't always come down when I'm there. Sometimes they do. And so I said, "No, I hadn't." And then the mommy called me later to say, "Well, you know what? I think when I left this morning, he ran out the front door, but I wasn't sure." So I went over that night to help them look because I was really anxious myself because I didn't want that poor cat to be out on the 4th of July when the fireworkers went off. But we looked until 9:00 and we couldn't find him. So I ended up just saying a prayer with the mommy, and I asked the Lord to do us a miracle. And the next day I went over to walk the dogs. And when you open their front door, there's a clear shot to the sliding glass doors. And look at this. I apologize for the quality, but
You're sorry you ran away.
So that was a happy ending. It doesn't always happen that way, but it was, and I was so thankful. So I want to thank you for listening to my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions if you have any. And if you want to get in touch with me, this is my website and my email address. And as a special thanks for all of you hanging in there, because I know there's been a lot of information over the last couple of days, that if you sign up for all of my things that I'm giving away, and if you reply with the code PETNANA to the email you're going to receive, I'm also going to send you an animal reflexology guide.
Awesome. So good. In order to grab Shalane's amazing combination of giveaways, just go to essentialoilvet.com/anxiety bonus, and you'll be able to grab all of her stuff. And then just reply saying Pet Nana, right? And then
That's right.
She'll also send the pet reflexology information as well.